Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How you doing today? We
I'm
just got
doing good, my friend.
folks, and well, you hope you like superbikes. Just put it down. Yeah.
I know, yeah, it's a lot to take in. Really, it's kind of yeah. Sorry, just checking to see did everything go live. I don't think it did. Oh, it, yeah. Yes, we had the ad, so it could have gone live. But anyway, as you know, this is our live show. Don't know whether this is going to go out live. And it's out live. It's fine. Right.
That's fine.
It's live. We can turn off everything else and get focused on it. So yeah, about 45 minutes ago, I got a notification of bing from the FIM press release, and then a few minutes after, we got a notification from the MotoGP.com website, and kind of really excited, but also not so excited. Excited that we're probably the first ones live on the map talking about this at the moment. So so technical regulations 2027, what is going on? Well, let's read it from the FIM press release to kind of avoid any glossary of what's going on the MotoGP site, if you know what I mean. So the meeting was attended this morning by Carmelo Espinosa, Paul Dupark, Hervé Poncharal, and Benzi Bainman or something from the MSMA. And the outcome of the meeting has been ratified, which means that the regulations are now set. So, technical regulations effective the 2027 season. Okay, so section 1.9.1 to 2.2. MotoGP class engine displacement will reduce from 1000 cc to 850 cc. The maximum cylinder bore will reduce from 81 to 75. The engines will remain 4-stroke only and must have 4 cylinders. So that is a confirmation of it. Now, it is kind of funny because I was actually going to do a video for Wednesday, where what's his name from Aprilia has confirmed that they've already begun working on the 850cc engine, and that they're doing well in it. And okay, I'm not convinced by the 850cc engine. Yes, Drizzy, we're talking about the regulations. If you want to go more. And hey, Paul from Sydney, Australia. Jeez, it must be late there. But anyway, yeah. So Aprilia have said that they're some way along in it. They're kind of spinning it a MotoGP, that especially around the bore size.
That's the killer. Is the bore size?
Bringing it down to
75. Jesus.
75. Look, it is what it is. I think personally, and I've been beating this drum for a while. I think Gigi got his way, yeah. The other side of the coin, I suppose. Look, at the end of the day, what is cheaper to change, circuits or bikes? And realistically, if we keep getting faster and faster, we will only be on boring Herman Tilke type circuits that are miles of fucking runoff, and fans don't get to go there. Like, and at the end of the day, it's about putting bums on seats. Now, okay, MotoGP had a bit of an own goal there at the Jerez Grand Prix, where they were like, "This is the most attended thing." Yeah, they got the numbers wrong. It was nowhere fucking near it.
Yeah, I know.
And
you know what? Yeah. When you say the whole thing's about putting bums on seats, to be quite honest with you, when it comes to shove, it's how many people are watching it on TV.
They are, but then
it's the media rights that makes all the money.
well, yes and no. I'll be very honest with you. If you look at the likes of what Liberty have done in F1, they've raised the price to a race now to 40-50 million that a track pays for a race weekend. All right. You look at Miami Motor or Formula One that just happened yesterday. Fucking track in the middle of Miami in a fucking car park. Let's be fair, right? The Miami Dolphins car park, right?
Yeah.
And they had nearly 300,000 people or whatever it was in there over the course of the weekend. That's fucking double what MotoGP had in Jerez in Spain with Marc Marquez fighting for things. So, realistically, and you can be guaranteed of those 300,000 people that went in there or whatever it was, they weren't paying $20 a ticket.
No.
Do you know what I mean? They weren't. And like my friend lives in Florida, and he was like, we can afford to go to the Friday practice because everyone was working and no one really wants to go to that. So majority of those people came in Saturday and Sunday. So look, it is. I get what they're trying to do. Not sure it is the right way with the engine, if I'm very, very honest.
Yeah. Motorcycle racing, it always has a ceiling because people don't ride motorcycles. Everybody rides their car, because there's always that bond between people driving their cars to work or whatever, and having it as a sport. They can they have they have a feeling. I know what they're going through when they're in that car. They don't with a motorcycle because they don't ride a motorcycle. Now, the person who rides a motorcycle, we got it in spades because we know exactly what it's like when they're riding that motorcycle, and we have way more feeling than they do in a car. We're much more attached to the vehicle. But
I never ride a car though, Jake. I do ride in a car, but I never ride a car. But anyway,
we're braver than the car drivers, but that way. There's not many brave people around.
Yeah, I get you. Concessions, and this was the biggest fucking question for me. Like, I wasn't worried about. Look, I didn't like the fact of 850cc, but as I kind of stuck to my guns over, Gigi really wanted it, and I think this was part of the concessions debacle. Concessions will stay.
What?
Concessions will stay, and this is actually a pretty good way of doing it. In my view, yeah, because look, it is the first year, Joel, to be. So basically, manufacturers who raced in 2026 will start the 27th season in rank B status. Okay, rankings will then be revised mid-season in 2027 based on the first part of the season results only. 2026 results before the regulation changes will not be counted. The regular ranking system will resume at the end of the checkpoint at the end of 2027. All manufacturers who have not raced in 2026 will start the 2027 season rank D. Their rankings will also be revised mid-season based on the first half of their season. Now, for me, this is the biggest thing that comes out of it, right? It's not the Section 1 part of it, right? Which, for example, how would I say? The first section of it basically is saying everyone is going to be in get the same amount of testing, same amount of things as ranked B. Do you know what I mean? So like Honda's not going to get a D ranking and get to develop faster, or unless they make an absolute pig of the bike and they're far away. Or Ducati go the wrong way, and everyone is graded after the first 12 races it is. So that's fair enough. Don't
take away the world to make sure that the Japanese who have weak engineering so we're bringing everybody down to their level. Is my problem?
No, they're not. But they're not. No, because like let's be fair. In a year of a brand new technical regulation change, you would normally give more testing. Anyway, do you know what I mean? So so they're starting everyone at level B, not level A. But the most interesting point here is that any manufacturers who've not raced in 2026 will start the 2027 season in rank D. So they will have a lot more open testing than the
Oh,
others,
you're saying
which I
anybody
agree.
in afterwards, anybody that like Ducati's not going to get hit. Anybody that's there now is not going to get hit. It's anybody coming in with the new regulations. Like if BMW starts up again, they're going to get more than anybody else.
They will automatically start at rank D, whereas everyone else, like anyone new coming in, will start at rank D. Anyone new coming or anyone that's existing at 2026 into 2027 will start at rank B. So technically, everyone in 2027, unless you're brand new to it, will start at the same level and same amount of testing.
I thought you were saying that they're going to keep up with the.
No. But saying that, at mid-season, if you make a pig of a bike, or you make a brilliant bike, you're going to move within those rankings. So, for example, Honda could move from a B to A, or it could move from a B to C. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's yes, but that's wrong. That's saying if you're good, we're going to penalize you again. You know, this is racing. You're supposed to do as best as you can. You know, the bike should be. You're trying to make a bike that's as fast as possible. Not we got to keep within everybody. Why don't we?
I agree with it for the first year, maybe two, of a massive change like this, to give everyone the opportunity to, for example. Like you have 6 engines in the year rather than 7. The engine is homologated at the start of the year. You can't change it. No one can change their engine.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So, like realistically, I kind of understand that. Give a year or two for people to figure out the concept of the engine. I think that's fairly fair. I think it's standard. But at the moment, anyone going from a 26 into 27 can't change the engine anyway. Do you know what I mean? Even if you're not going to go from a B to a D. Do you know what I mean? That's just not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? You'll have to go down, and then maybe at the end of 2027, you might get put into a D status when they do it again. So anyway, Paul the Brick Monkey, you asked, what racing experience do you boys have? I'm a Grade 3 club racer, Super Sport 600. Myself, I'm a 3-time Irish champion in go-kart racing, and I raced a lot in Super Sport and 125s, 250s in just local thing. Unfortunately, I was much better on a kart than the bike.
Yeah. I owned a super bike team. Obviously, I'm not a racer. I'm a little big for that. Not the sport for. I'm not the size for the on a bike.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Engine durability. The number of engines available to use by each permitted contracted rider will reduce to 6 engines per year for up to 20 races. 7 engines per season in the case of 21 or 22 races. So exactly the same as current, except 1 engine less. Manufacturer, huh? But no, well, now you have 8 engines if you do 21 races plus. Do you know what I mean? So you have 7. So it's just the 1 engine less. So you have more miles in the engine. Rank. Manufacturers and concessions rank D will continue to be able to use 2 additional engines per season. Again, so that is fair. That is, it's the same as that. So that would realistically be a new team coming in would automatically be ranked D. Yeah.
I can understand concessions for new teams coming in, but when you have 40 years in the business, they don't buy that, and that's why you get a gripe with the Japanese. You say, well, they've been in here 40 years and they got double the budget. I don't buy this concessions. But anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah. GPS data from all riders will now be made available to all teams at the end of each session. Now, I believe this is more tracking data, as in lap tracking, rather than the GPS data of what's going on in their engine, suspension, and all of this. If that's, because realistically, I think it would only be, and it's pretty normal that they would have the action tracker so you can track who's going where and what and when. And I think this is actually probably going to be more what lines, what sectors, kind of breaking down the sectors.
They can't have everybody. It would be horrible to have everybody's info put in a big pot and give it out, because then they keep getting more into this milk toast. Everybody's the same. If they keep this up, they might as well just have everybody run the same engine. It might as well be Moto 2.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of merit to that. You know what I mean? I don't think you should be changing or sharing your data of throttle opening and not lines, but again, I suppose the data from your suspension and engine. That's within the teams to have that data. But look, saying that, like, if someone's carrying an apex speed of 200 kilometers an hour, I don't think that's a problem to be sharing that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it'd be more of a visual of where they are on track and how they're performing on track, rather than their actual data. Transmission in the MotoGP class, the total number of gearbox ratios, i.e. pairs of gears, permitted will be reduced to 16, plus 4 different overall ratios for the primary drive for each season. So again, it's like transmissions are one of those really weird things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, rare are they spoken about, even though that they're probably the most technically advanced feature on the bikes nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyone here try to shift up and down seamlessly is pretty impossible, if I'm very, very honest. But yeah, another, I don't know, so like if they're reducing it, it realistically means that they more miles are going to be going on it, so a little bit more bulletproofing to be done. Minimum weight of the MotoGP bike. The minimum weight of the bike, the minimum bike weight in MotoGP class will be 153 kilos. So 153 kilos, which is not that heavy, like, when you look at it. Do you know what I mean?
153 kilos?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2.2 pounds, 2 kilos, 2.2 pounds. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah, here you go in your American shit now with your pounds.
Yeah, well, I'm just give us. Yeah, why they haven't changed it 20 years ago, but anyhow, it's what, 300 and some pounds.
Yeah. Suspension and dampers. No ride height devices of any kind will be permitted, including whole shot and devices activated solely for the start of races. That's big. So that's the rear ride height for outer corners, and it's the whole shot devices for the start of the races. Gone. Not sure on that one. I like it for the start. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, fuel tanks. Fuel tank capacity will be reduced to 20 litres for the Grand Prix, and a maximum of 11 litres permitted for the sprint. I don't really get, well, I suppose we'll talk about that in a minute about the fuel and oil, because it's a section there. But yeah, I don't really see the point in limiting it. But then saying that if the engine capacity is lower, it should be less thirsty. So okay. Reduction of aero surfaces. Okay. So the maximum permitted width of the height proportion of the front aero fairing, aero body will reduce from 600 millimeters to 550. So that is the width of the aero across the bike. I'm correct, isn't it? So if you were looking at the bike head on, the way before the aero couldn't stick out by the past the handlebars.
Right.
It has to stay. It has to come back in. 50 millimeters? 50 millimeters.
Yeah.
Which is some
millimeters. It's coming in roughly an inch on each side.
Yeah. The maximum rear end height. The maximum rear end height will reduce from 1250 to 1150 millimeters. So the height of the wing at the back of the bike from the ground up is going to be reducing by 100 millimeters. So the rear wing, let's just say, or the Stegosaurus wing's height. The furthest most point of the front wing nose must be moved back by 50 millimeters. The rearwards taper towards the front aero.
2 inches for other people.
So it must come back. So that's weird. So does that mean? What I think that means is that where the air intake, there can't be a wing in front of the air intake anymore. Does that make sense? So
Well,
if you look,
it can only be come out so far instead of being coming out. They're dropping it. They're dropping it by 2 inches, so it can't come out. Whatever it's out now, that's going to bring it back 2 inches.
but you see, Yamaha and Aprilia's one would be different ranges. Do you know what I mean? So I wonder, are they saying that it can't? Yeah, what is it? The furthest most point of the front wing nose, so the nose cone, will be moved back. But what I believe in that, the way I'm reading that is that where the front air intake is, the front wing can't begin until it's 50 centimeters or 50 millimeters behind that. So, like the nose of the front wing of the Yamaha and the Aprilia would technically have to be under, the furthest point of that would have to be behind 50 millimeters behind the air intake. So they'd have to revert, like they would have to change their aero concept to like the same as Honda, KTM and Ducati. So they'd have to go back where their wing is stretched out in front of it.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense, yeah. So it's kind of a pretty weird one. The homologation of aero surfaces, the rear end of the machine, any aerodynamics behind the rider must be homologated as part of an aero body. The manufacturers will then be permitted to use one update per season.
Yeah. They're not doing much on aero. That's the one thing they're not doing much on. It doesn't seem like. Huh?
Well, like we're sucking it in by 50 mil. Whatever it is. Yeah, 50 mil.
Yeah,
but they're doing quite a lot actually. Like that's a lot of aero to take off. To be fair,
like if you're taking it off, it seems like you're just moving it. You know what I mean?
They're moving it, but again, like they are taking it off, right? Like being realistic, they're not saying you can't use aero, but if you had a wing that was 600 mil versus a wing that was 550 mil, there's definitely points of downforce that you're losing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're losing something right there. But it's not a lot. It's just it doesn't seem like a lot to me.
But what they have done, especially now, is with the homologation rules, is that any aero part on the bike is now has to be homologated, except for you see, and this is where I'm looking at now is right, the rear end of the machine, any aerodynamic devices behind the rider. So does this cover the rear wheel as well, swing arm, and the things? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, are they clamping it down? Like, yeah, sure, go fine. You're okay to develop, but you can only change ones during the season. So that does bring down the cost.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Of that development quite a lot. And then last one on this was fuel and oil. The use of 100% non-oil refined origin fuels is confirmed for 2027. Like, talk about saying a fucking long ass way to say like sustainable or renewable. You know what I mean? It's just like the FIM together with the MSMA and the fuel suppliers will clarify the technical details via the TWG1 working group, including the representatives from Dorna IRTA at the beginning of May 2024. So, so realistically, it's going to be either biofuel or synthetic fuels will be used. Which for I'm quite excited to see sustainable fuels coming into play, right? Because I just electric cars and all of this fucking shit. It's good, but a lot of people drive a lot of cars that are not as expensive as those, and
this electric carpet is a dud. It's all.
Look, the electric cars are fun to drive. To be fair,
yeah,
they're bricks.
They've the little pep to them, but Christ, in the north here, that they were stopping because they got too cold. You go out.
Their range went down. Yeah.
And it got too hot. Then it gets too hot. People turn their air conditioners on, and now you can't charge your car. So because you're overrunning the infrastructure. It's not working.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, they are much like a liter of petrol here. They are much more cheaper to run. But anyway, sustainable fuels, that's what I want to see for sure. Worldwide, not just racing, but I think having them in racing, will drive the development no end of those fuels and reduce the costs. All in all,
be safe. On the safe side, you'd think that they wouldn't have dropped the amount of fuel, just to be on the safe side. If you're doing, like leave it as it is, that for fuel amount, all right, and then if you want, pure it back. If you get me,
yeah, I think so. But then I think you get an awful lot of pushback from the manufacturers then that you're skimping on fuel, So, I think as an engineering challenge, it's probably borderline on what they do. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting.
I would think you'd give them more fuel to begin with, and then say, hey, if we can do it, bring it back at a certain date. So just to be on the safe side.
Yeah. And Paul, I 100% agree. Jake's face as I was reading out the regulations, because Jake doesn't like half of these regulations.
No.
Off air, what was your comment? Just give you 3 good years.
Yeah, I got 2 years left before. I hope I die before 2020. After 2026, I get don't screw up my last 3 good years. Before we have a Superbike Light, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Superbike Light will only last 1 year, and I think then they'll find their groove. Like, there's nothing in those regulations that were surprising. I suppose the only thing that's surprising for me is that the concessions. I really, really don't like the concessions. I agree that people should get kind of a year or 2 if you've gone the wrong way to re-engineer and get back. But realistically, 2 years, that would be nearly 40% of a development cycle. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Look,
it's become the do everything we can. The whole sport was revolving around getting the Japanese back on top, and they're just have weak engineering. Make better bikes. Japan.
Well, yeah. Look, I suppose everyone now, and I suppose this is the thing, is like everyone is technically now starting on a blank sheet of paper, right? And look, whether we agree with the engine sizes or what, I don't really think it makes a difference. I think one of the things that I suppose where they're going to is I love majority of the racetracks that we go to in MotoGP. I've been very critical of Silverstone. I don't think I'll ever be able to get into Silverstone, but not meant in a bad way, right? But I would be one of those people that would go or try to go to a race or two a year. And it's for me, it's the importance of hearing the bikes and the sound and understanding, and as well as looking at it from the outside. And I don't want tracks to be 2 miles wide that riders can fucking make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? I like a lot of the European circuits, and unfortunately, we're going to end up in a state of bikes hitting fucking walls and people and barriers, and all of a sudden, I suppose the thing that I love most about motorbike racing, and we'll talk about this in a while, is when you go to see a race live, and you can nearly reach out and slap the rider across the head as they're passing. There's no better feeling. Or like if anyone has ever sat in the ditch at a road race, right? And when the boys are coming down past you and the fucking gust of wind and dust and dirt and fucking fumes are up your fucking nose, it's just, for me, it's paradise. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, that's what it's all about. Do you know what I mean? It's the noise, the aggression.
Now, me, I want to have a 52-inch television in front of me, or 65-inch television in front of me, and see everything up close at every angle.
I don't know though. There's something like 1, 2, and 3 there in Catalonia, right? I don't know. There's just something. There's just something that you cannot be seeing it in yourself. I don't know what it is. What do I say? You're feeling it. It's different from seeing it, but you're feeling it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like the Northwest 200 is on this year, right? I can fucking remember every Northwest that I've been to. Do you know what I mean? I can remember where I sat, what I sat, and I can remember from the fastest fellas of Dunlop and Irwin and all of them coming over to the 2 boys battling for fucking last place. Like, do you know what I mean? I do not want to finish last. So for me, it's just epic. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's MotoGP or road racing.
Right. Now, see, I own a team, right? And I got irritated with, I can't see my guy. I can't see him. I can see him pass in the distance. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't want to see that. I want to see it on TV going, oh, I can see his, brushing a fly off his head, if he's going around a bend.
But Joe, I don't know. Look, it's just some of these things of, you just get into a zone and focused on the race, and you're fucking terrified that you miss something, so you're like glued to it. You know what I mean? And like I remember last year in the Northwest 200, right? We knew the boys were about a minute and a half away from us because we could see the helicopter. So once we knew the helicopter was there, the boys were about a minute and a half away from the spot where we were. So it gave us time to get our phones out. So we'd have the phones on record, and then we're watching it in live. Because I have one of these things about being present in the moment, right? So I put the phone to the side and let that record, but watch it myself. It's one of those things in life that bugs me when you see these people going to a concert, and they have their phone and they're watching the concert through their phone. I'm like, you fucking dickhead! Like, you just paid 80 quid or 90 quid to be there, right? You know what I mean? And you're watching it on your phone. Anyway. Yeah, look, that's enough about you guys. But again, look, I think it is very much about getting bums on seats. It is about getting people coming back to there. Like, you look at Formula One, I think it was either 250 or 300,000 people through the gates in Miami. Friday to Sunday.
You know what? I love the idea they're going to mix it. They mixed it. They put a MotoGP in with the Formula One. People are going to die.
I don't think that's going to happen. What I actually genuinely think what's going to happen is that they're going to have demonstration rides or something. I don't think they're going to have a Formula One race and a a Formula One race and a MotoGP race in the same venue at the same time. So yeah.
I don't see why not. It'd be a great idea if they can get it, if they can pull it off. As far as safety regulations and blah blah blah.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. Like getting those two race directions to coexist. Very, very big problem. If you know what I mean. But anyway, look, never say never. I suppose it's highly unlikely for the next 2 or 3 seasons. But again, you never know. Look, Liberty Media are fairly good putting on a show. I have to admit, the show in Miami over the weekend was really good. Do you know what I mean? A bit too pomp and ceremony for my liking, but it can't please everyone, I guess.
I think Liberty Media is going to go, hey, they just gave me a poison chalice, change these rules back. I'm praying that way anyway.
Yeah.
They go, hey, the show isn't what it's supposed to be. It was better last. It went downhill, not uphill. Changing around. We'll pay for different tracks. Update the tracks.
So, Peter Histon, dear old dad, got a second in Northwest 200 to Sammy Miller. He had to stop. Broke the lap record, hunting Sammy down, but ran out of laps. I have to get to the Isle of Man and to the Northern Ireland and see some proper hard. Peter, you have to go there. You absolutely have to go there. And as it is on this weekend, I do also want to give a big shout out to Sleepwalker and to Tico, who will be marshalling this week at the Northwest 200. So stay safe, lads. Enjoy it. It's an epic event to go to. It's definitely one of the ones you need to do before you kick the bucket, Jake. So get your ass in the plane, and we'll do the Northwest. Anyway, back to the MotoGP regulations. Look, I don't think there's anything really surprising there. Do you know what I mean? That we didn't know about that was coming.
Right, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, but look, it's good now that it's fucking done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a little bit of like the concession thing last year. It was.
We knew it was evil. We knew it was coming.
Yeah, but they just drew it out to drag the ass out of it. But look, it's done. We are into race week this weekend. We have, besides the Northwest, which I will stream, so you guys in the US will be able to see. Sorry, did I say that out too loud? So yes. So watch out on Thursday night and Saturday. On this channel, you might see some Northwest 200. But yeah, I think So Le Mans this weekend, and I suppose one of the things I do want to talk about very quickly is that we did a thing about Mark and Pecco, and a lot of people were getting very upset about Mark and all of this, and he's an alien. If he was on the 2024 bike, he would have beaten Pecco and all of this. And I kind of want to put some myth-busting shit straight, right? So Mark is on a Ducati GP23, and people are saying he's the highest performing Ducati on a GP20 or rider on a GP23, and he is, right? But Mark is also an alien, right?
Yep.
And many of the other GP riders on a GP23 are not aliens, right? So first of all, I would expect Mark to be the fastest GP23. And if he wasn't, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Secondly, every other rider on a GP23 came off a 22. And everyone from the 22s are struggling to get on with the 23s. If it was one or two, you could say, okay, right? Some are coping better in some races than others, but overall, they've all fundamentally said there is a problem, or there's a big difference between the 22 and 23. The 23 works the opposite way to the 22. So they have to change their riding style from what they knew. Mark is coming in on the other hand, throwing his leg over at Giuliani, right? From a pig of a Honda that didn't turn, didn't accelerate, didn't have any balance. Do you know what I mean? Onto one of the bikes that won the championship last year. So it turns, it has balance, it's good in its tires. You know, he doesn't know the 22. He knows a bad Honda. The 22 is a good bike. The 23 bike has more potential than the 22, but it's not. You know, it just takes time to get used to. Now, for me, when I look at it, you know, Mark is performing very well, but I would look at Mark in comparison to Acosta, because, and why I say this is Acosta's come into MotoGP, never ridden a MotoGP bike before,
Right.
Not struggling as half as bad as his other factory and teammates, right?
Teammates,
and is ahead of Mark in the championship.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, when I look at kind of the whole thing, you would expect Mark to be up there, right? I said it at the start of the season, top 4, top 5. That's where I think he is. People are going on and saying, you know, that he is already matching and beating Pecco and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, 1 second. It took them 5 or 6 races to get that GP23 sorted. Now that GP23 has a whole year of data.
Yeah.
A whole year of data.
Yes.
This GP24 doesn't, right?
Right. Remember, we were saying at the beginning of the year, we said these should come out of there strong because it's already sorted.
Yeah. But when they get that sorted, I genuinely believe there will be the big difference shown, because right now everyone is like, oh, you know, Mark is far better than Pecco and all of this. And I'm like, yeah, but Martin wasn't that fast either on the 24. Put Pecco and Martin on the 23 with this year's rubber, and I think they would do an awful lot better. The bike they know and trust and whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's fair to be judged them apples for apples just yet. Do you know what I mean? Midpoint in the season, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'd say another 2 or 3 races, and we see where they are. Do you know what I mean? We know that GP24 has a fundamental problem with chatter. So does the KTM. But Mark's not experiencing chatter on his 23.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
but he also has the factor, and people forget it, that it's not that, and I think he might be overrating it himself or underrating it himself, that you have that trained reflex. It doesn't shake off that easily, that he's going from a front bias to a rear bias chassis.
Well, no, yeah, look, he did rear bias on the Honda, remember, but it just badly done. The Honda was rear bias, but it was just badly done.
Yeah, but it's there. Well, when it's badly done, it's hard to lean. It's hard to lean on the top, you know.
But that's my point exactly. He's gone, like, he has no reference to changing his riding style from the 22 to the 23. He's just going from a really bad bike to a bike that now turns and handles and whatever, right?
Right.
So whereas the others are going from a bike that was handling really well to now there's more potential there with the engine and this and that and the other, but they just can't get the feel that they had from the other one. So it's a big jump. And you could see it. It did take Pecco, well, we won't say Bastianini. It took Pecco and Martin a while to adapt to that 23. Now, the thing I will call out, and I still find this quite strange, and that all the satellite bikes are on version 1 of the 23 and not version 2. They changed they brought out
all of them. There's no one out there in the version 2.
Nope. So the bike that Pecco and Martin finished at the end of the season last year, is not out there currently. It's the one that they started last year.
I thought it was just Marquez that was on the version. Version 1.
All of them. No, all of them.
Why?
Huh?
I wonder why.
I don't know. Maybe they want to increase the gap between factory and satellite, or maybe they're using it as a bargaining tool, you know. Because what we do know is that there is a lot of unhappy team principals right now, so with Ducati bikes, and Ducati don't want to lose any of the 8 bikes, apparently, but I think they're going to lose Gresini, because Gresini. So this is my understanding that Mark has made a demand that if he's to stay with Gresini next year, he wants a 2025 Ducati.
Right.
That is not in Gresini's contract.
Right.
So realistically, what we're looking at there is Marc Marquez will leave Gresini at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They just won't have the bike. So that leaves Pramac or the main factory. Now, there was a nice little thing with Mark and Davide Tardazzi during the week. It was just pulling the piss. A lot of people are already saying, oh, it's a done deal that he's going to go to the factory. A lot of people don't think Mark will go to the factory.
With that statement, he said, I want to, Pramac is good, but it's not a factory team. I want to be on a factory team.
Well, no, he said factory bike, is what he said. He didn't say team. But saying that, I just don't know.
This goddamn thing, it said team.
Yeah. Yeah. Gigi said that they know that they have a big decision to make, and his legs are shaking about making that decision. But again, look, I think at the end of the day, it swings and roundabouts right now. Like Jorge Martin comes in and he does another 3 or 4 brilliant races.
Yeah,
they'll take him. Bastianini does 3 or 4 great races. They'll take him. So Marc Marquez comes in and does it. So it's all up to play for him in my mind. So I wouldn't be necessarily.
He always has. Don't forget, this comes back to money too, because they want Marquez in that factory team. That's dollars and cents. It's at the showroom too. Selling bikes.
I just don't know. Does that fit in Ducati's ideology of bikes? But you never know. You know what I mean.
They got to sell bikes to race.
I think, but they have no problem selling bikes now. And as you've told us over and over and over, they're hitting record sales every year.
They are. They are.
So Marc Marquez joining. It'll put a boost on it, but realistically, they're not worried about bike sales anymore. If you went back 10 years ago, I would say 100% they're worried about selling bikes. They're a small little tiny factory. Now this factory is backed by fucking car makers and the whole lot.
But they still only sell 60,000 bikes. I mean, just not when I say that. Don't think they're not.
Yeah, one sec now, right? 60,000 bikes at 40 grand a bike, like, yeah. You know what I mean? It's very different now, so they can take 100,000, 10,000.
Yes, it's 40,000 or 60,000 scooters, but they do put a lot into their bikes. I mean, that's why they're the best.
I'm not saying that. My point is that Ducati. I'd like to see the Ducati brand as like the Ferrari brand. Ferrari have enough money that they can go around and they can produce 100,000 cars a year. They produce 100,000 cars a year that devalues their brand because it gets rid of the exclusivity, all of this of having a Ferrari, right?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
It's the exact same with Ducati. So the more bikes they sell, they don't want to be selling 100,000 bikes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the bikes become mainstream. But anyway, this weekend in Le Mans, I will be honest, Le Mans is not my favorite racetrack that we go to. There's some cool corners there. The only time I kind of get excited about Le Mans is when the weather is wet and raining and miserable. That's shit for the fans, but it's great watching on TV. Do you know what I mean? So we'll wait and see what goes on. Obviously, it's on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday's video will be delayed. I'll just say that now. I'm in Wolverhampton with the young fella, so for the last home game of Wolves. Under God's Racing. No, I don't have a Discord channel. Or do I? I could have.
What
I
is
don't
a
think I do.
Discord channel?
I have Reddit, but I don't have Discord. I have no idea what Discord is, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, look, this weekend, like realistically, Maverick has to pull something out of his arse this weekend. Do you know what I mean? To kind of bring back the proof that he's thing. I still think he could be in trouble with Aprilia. Do you know what I mean? He has done two really good weekends at contract time, and if he goes down the slippery slope again, maybe it's a Trackhouse Racing job. I know a lot of people are talking a lot about Joe Roberts, and a lot of that comes actually from the British media hyping him up quite a lot.
I should say, yeah.
Even though that he is American. But like it does make sense that he does go to Trackhouse Racing, if I'm honest. But again, I don't
think they're talking about Mir going to Trackhouse Racing. I can't see him wanting Mir.
I can see them wanting Mir.
Why?
Because it's Davide Brivio, who was the Suzuki manager when Mir and Rins were there.
Okay, what's that do for the price of bread?
Mir won the championship with Davide, so Mir is one of Davide's boys, so I can see him trying to get Mir there. Like realistically, I just have a funny feeling that we're going to get a shocker soon in the seat moves for 2025. And I possibly think one of the shockers is that Martin will go to Honda.
Oh, that would be an idiot move. But I could see him doing it.
Money, and also I think that he's getting pissed off with Ducati waiting. Do you know what I mean? And because like realistic, Yeah, I think it's, but that's what I just think.
Yeah, I think he wants a factory bike so bad it doesn't make a difference what factory it is. It could be with Fiat for all he cares.
Yeah, it's the Crutchlow syndrome he has. Yeah,
because that's foolish. It was foolish for him to jump off and say, "I'm not going to go with Pramac." I mean, what a ride! Why would you take Pramac and wipe it off as a possibility before any of this thing started?
Unless Pramac don't have the deal signed with Ducati like they say they do.
Yeah.
Like I think there's something wrong there with Pramac that they haven't announced that they're continuing on, even though that they've said everything is done, dusted. Now maybe they're waiting for Mugello. I don't know. But I was just thinking, it's just like
why Mugello?
It's home. It's a home race. Yeah, home race. VR46 are pushing for factory equipment for 2025 as well, so they could be out the door to Yamaha. Grassini, as well, they're just like the poor boys in the corner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they will be on GP24s for 100% next year, or if there is a buyout clause, which all teams apparently have it out.
Now, what do you? What do you think about the thing that Yamaha bought Grassini? They bought the team.
What about a Biker Sticks, and what about Jorge to Aprilia? Yeah, that's a possibility too, but I just don't think Aprilia can afford him. I think he's going to be asking for a serious price tag, and I think that price tag goes up if he wins the championship. So, I just don't think they will have the money. I think it will be.
No. I said Grassini. What do you think?
I know, but a question that Biker Stig asked in the thing was, And what do I think about Grassini and Yamaha? I think that's a very serious possibility, but I just don't think that Marc Marquez will be on a Yamaha.
No.
But apparently there is a buyout clause with Ducatis, so that if someone does buy the team, they can choose to go with a different brand or whatnot. So Yamaha would have to take a good financial stake in the team to activate that contract. Now, Nadia is apparently not so happy with Ducati because they're like the poor relation.
Yeah.
And be getting the second-hand parts and support. And realistically, what Mark has said in the press, and I think it's kind of foolish of Mark to be like, I want a factory bike next season, and everyone knows that Gresini are never going to get a factory bike. So he's kind of telegraphing that he's gone next season. Now, which is good for other riders that may not be alien, but might be good. But for me, yeah, like if I look at Trackhouse Racing, I believe boat riders shouldn't be there next season, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like up to the main race, I think that was Miguel's best finish this season. I think, and he's 9 points ahead of Raul. So there's not much just. You know what I mean? I have reservations about Aleix. I think he'll be gone. So for me, there could be 3 Aprilia seats available next season.
Yeah, I see Aprilia seats just open.
Yeah. I think that's probably, there's 4 seats there. That would be.
But I can see Martin, if he has half a brain, going to Aprilia over Honda. It gives him his I want to be on a factory, and it gives him a possibility. Well, he would be up front. At least he would be up front running for the title.
If he's going to go for a factory seat and he has a world championship or is leading the championship at the time of it, he's not going to sign for anything less than 8 or 9 million. I don't think Aprilia have that money to spend on riders.
No.
Now, if Aprilia signed a title sponsor, I'd say 100%. Yeah, back the money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To spend that, now, don't get me wrong, Aprilia and the Piaggio group, they're very, very, very well funded, right? There is no problems with money there, but I do not see them spending that type of money.
Yeah, with that.
Like Martin is technically unproven, right? And I know that sounds really, really stupid to say, right?
No, you're right. He is unproven because he's not. He didn't follow through yet. He hasn't followed through.
Exactly. And what Aprilia need is they need that rider that, like, for example, I can see them spending 10 or 12 million on Pecco. I can see them spending 10 or 12 million on Mark. I can see them spending 10 or 12 million on Fabio. No problem. These boys will deliver 100%. Martin hasn't delivered that one yet, in my opinion, So I find it kind of interesting what they're going to do. I think Aprilia have the most seats open. Lynn Jarvis has confirmed there will be 4 Yamahas on the grid. So realistically, one of those Ducati teams, I think, are gone, or maybe it's an LCR team. The LCR is gone. I know. Like,
but then it's not going to be Pramac. Then he hinted toward it. It wasn't going to be Pramac for Yamaha.
Well, no, that's because Gino Bersoi keeps coming out and saying everything is signed, sealed, and delivered. It's just we're just waiting to announce it.
Yeah, I know.
That was 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, what do you say? I'd have to be an idiot or something. I'd have to jump off a mountain first before I give this away. It's such a sweet deal, too.
Yeah.
He said, I have the sweetest deal in MotoGP. Why would I jump? Now if he does it, he's looking like an idiot, Or
there's I don't know, maybe there's kind of a topic to the stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was having a factory exclusive contract with Ducati, and then I learned that VR46 were also getting a factory exclusive contract, I wouldn't be fucking too happy, right? When you're the likes of LCR Racing, right, or LCR Honda, I should say, it's very hard for them, man. It's really, really hard. Like, they have independent sponsors and this, that, and the other, and they're on a Honda. You know what I mean? Your sponsors are never going to be fucking happy. Like, you know what I mean? So with the current performance, and like Luca does an incredible job, but he has overhead and sponsors to keep happy and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, could it be LCR or not so happy? I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's one of those kerfuffles, I suppose, that could happen. But I'm sure over the next couple of weeks things will be ironed out. Like, I don't see the silly season going into the summer now. Maybe it does with the Ducatis. Like, realistically, until Mark and Jorge Martin are settled, nothing is really going to happen, and that trigger is only going to be pulled by Ducati, or not pulled by Ducati, and then that triggers Martin and Mark to go to thing. I clearly think Marquez is going to go to KTM. Now, there was a person out in the comments saying Mark.
You're kidding me. Nobody said that except for you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a MotoGP Mac exclusive. I
think it's his only place to go.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think that I'm thinking like a businessman. I'm thinking he's gonna go to Marc Marquez is gonna end up going to the factory ride with Ducati. I think they're gonna pick him.
I don't know. I think two cocks in the hen house.
Yeah.
Having
two cocks in a hen house like that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, or two roosters, if you want to call it that way.
No, he's used to being top dog for God knows for all the many years he's been in racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden he plays second fiddle. That's going to be rough.
I think there's. And look, here is why I think. And I know there's
perfect scenario was to put him in Primac, and put Martin into the slot.
I think putting Martin in there as well, again, it's going to cause the same.
Yeah, no, not as bad. I put that one.
Okay, right. The difference between Mark going into the Lenovo team and Martin going into the Lenovo team, there will be walls built there, right, straight away between Pecco and any of them. So I reckon. So, and the difference in the walls, I think, the one with Pecco and Martin will be a brick wall, and the one between Mark and Pecco will be a reinforced concrete wall. That's the way. I could see Mark going.
I can't see Ducati putting up with any wall. I can see them going piss on you.
But that's exactly why I believe that they won't bring him. Like, if he's already in Gresini and making a demand for a 2025 bike next season, anyway, what I think is going to happen, and there's going to be an unfortunate victim in this. I think he's going to go to KTM, and I can see him going into the main team, and I can see Binder being moved out, or I see him as Red Bull sponsoring the gas team completely again. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's massive ties with Red Bull. If he goes to the factory Lenovo team in Ducati, he will have to cancel that sponsorship, because they are head sponsors with Monster Energy, and I do not ever see that happening, if I'm very, very honest. So that's one of the reasons why I think Lenovo is out. But I think it's Red Bull. Now, someone did say in the comments ages ago, which is not true, there's no pre-arrangement done with KTM. But what I think is that there is a lot of tie up there, right? What Acosta has done on that bike this year has kind of proved to Mark that the bike is ready. Just the pilots are needed. Now, how would he feel about going up next to Pedro Acosta on the same equipment? I don't think he'd be afraid of him, but that's my only kind of concern that I would have about Mark going there is how would he like that battle?
I think there'd be a might not be a wall, but there'll be a vault. You know what I mean, like a steel bank vault.
Yeah, but KTM.
Old timer, he's not going to want us to take away any trade secrets.
But KTM kind of managing that. No, KTM can kind of manage in that kind of drama, if you know what I mean.
What makes them better than Ducati at managing?
What makes them better at it?
Yeah,
I think that KTM are just much more ruthless than Ducati. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially with just how they could. I won't call it ruthless. They're just very much more real. Do you know what I mean? You had a shit race. You had a shit race.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ask Ducati if someone had a shit race. Oh, well, like there was a little bit of things that do you know what I mean? It was not all of his control. And it's just, whereas I think they will kind of just head it off a little bit more to the point, and they will be able to have the two roosters in the hen house. If you know what I mean. So yeah. Who else?
So I think he's been written off for a couple of years. I have no idea where Yamaha is going to go for the next 4 years.
I have no idea. I think this is their perfect.
Do we have any idea if they're going to go V4 or stick with the inline 4 yet?
I don't know. I think it's their perfect. One second there now. No, I was just checking some notes that I had. No, there's nothing, no grumblings about whether they're going to change.
I'm wondering if this new engine, being 850 cc's, having a smaller bore, which makes you make the crank smaller, less length, 8 centimeters, will pander out that they can still use that inline 4 again.
Maybe it will, but I don't know.
And less power, period. And lighter. Be lighter. The crank will be lighter. So
crank will be lighter, yeah. It's a perfect time for Yamaha to change, right? Because whether they will actually change or not, I don't know. But it is the perfect time to change because it's just, they're always complaining that it's this, that, and the other. Everyone now is on a blank sheet of paper. And there is that kind of safety window with the concessions. Do you know what I mean? That if you fuck it up and go the wrong way, or your thing, you could technically get a grade D.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And develop some
shit. Now let's making everybody even again. It's just it's like I said, it's the whole sport's revolving around making sure the Japanese are equal.
Well, no, look, this is putting a catch net out for everyone. To be fair, for 2027 regs, it's putting that catch net out for everyone, and it's putting a catch net out
for everyone, right? But in reality, it was made for them. Let's not kid anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if somebody goes out and says who has the strongest and who has the weakest engineering, they look at the Japanese and go, they're the weak ones.
They're the weak ones, yeah. I know. Look, there is no doubt that how far Yamaha and Honda are behind. Now, I've seen a couple of new MotoGP channels coming up, and one of the videos that I saw is that Honda have agreed that they're going to write off the season or whatever the fuck it is. That came from Neil Hodgson at BT, and he said that he believes that Honda should use this season as a test, right? Mm-hmm. And Sylvain Guintoli was turned around and said, I kind of disagree with that because that takes the edge off the riders. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they shouldn't be going out using it as a test. They should have certain days. So like Friday, Saturday is a test and Sunday is an actual race. Do you know what I mean? So like a session in the sprint racing on Saturday is about getting set up for the race on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? More so than anything else. But I think that's the right approach.
Yeah, because you can't have a guy going, listen, hang it all out for testing. You got to have some type of incentive to say, listen, we want to win. It's in their nature to want to win. Yep.
Like, and all of these guys, right? We're mere mortals here sitting, right? We fall off our bike and we're fucking lying down for 3 weeks because it's sore. Like, you know what I mean? They fall off a bike and 3 minutes later they're back on doing the fucking same speed again. I know it's their job, right? But it's just they're driven by an unbelievable urge to win and to be the best and to do this. And there's a very what is it in boxing? It's very hard to show the same hunger when you sleep or you wake up in silk sheets. Do you know what I mean?
Hard to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning in silk pajamas, like Bernard Hopkins.
So like these guys, a lot of these guys are fairly wealthy now. Well, not all, a lot. Like to get into that paddock, you either have to be backed or you have a lot of backing. Do you know what I mean? And it's a really good thing to see there. And I saw during the week where you could apply to do Red Bull Rookies, which is a massive gateway to get people into MotoGP. Do you know what I mean? But it's an application form. And you put in all about you and your best races and records of your finishes and all of this. And then I think they bring you through like a screening process and then you get into the Rookies Cup. I just think it's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? That there's those gateways there. If you look at the likes of like Formula One, all of these, there's no gateway there. Like you look at the likes of Hamilton, and he's going on about, and this is one of the reasons that I don't particularly like him, right? Is that he was like, I didn't have it handed to me. I had this. My dad had to work 2 jobs and all of this to afford racing. And I'm like, firstly, your dad did it because he wanted to do it, right? He wanted to. He saw a talent in you and whatever, right? Second of all, he was sponsored. He was sponsored from fucking 9 years of age by McLaren, right? So he was in cadets when his dad was fucking racing him, right? A cadet engine would have cost you maybe $2,000. A set of tires would have lasted you for the fucking year. Do you know what I mean? Because they don't burn off, because they don't go fast enough to heat the tires up. Right? Do you know what I mean? And you're looking and you're just like, yeah, but you were privileged because your racing was paid for by McLaren. They, do you know what I mean? Whereas I don't see that ever happening where a fella can just, in MotoGP, just start off in a field or whatever it is, or I think those days are gone now. Do you know what I mean? All these guys are going to be bred into racing, do you know what I mean? From a young age, do you know what I mean? 2 years of age, out in a PB50.
The Korean Cup or whatever it is, the Asian Cup, and then they have the Spanish Cup, the Junior Spanish League and stuff like that. Honda sponsors it. And
the Asian Talent Cup, yeah. Well, but look, that's kind of fine. Do you know what I mean? Because But Red Bull Rookies is another one, and that's
Yeah,
a cooperation with Red Bull and KTM. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at it, I think a good few of the younger ones came through the cup. Do you know what I mean? Certainly Acosta did. I think Martino did.
I'm waiting for Honda to come swooping down to try to grab Acosta.
Hmm?
Aren't you? I'm waiting for Honda or to just come down and try to swoop down to get Acosta.
I would think, and this is just my stupid opinion, but I think Acosta is unbelievably loyal.
Okay.
Because Acosta's parents didn't have any money at all, and it was Red Bull and KTM brought Acosta all the way through.
Okay, yeah. Well, Morton got brought all the way through too, but that didn't stop him from getting sucked out.
It didn't, but they learned the lesson from that one, and they put all their contract to buy him out then to 2 or 3 million.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So, that was enough. Like the only ones that could afford to buy him probably are Honda and Yamaha.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see him going anywhere for 4 or 5 more years. I think he'll win a championship or two with KTM, and then that question that has to be answered is like, is it the bike or is it me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll go and find another manufacturer.
I hope he'd be smart enough to go, okay, I don't want to be that another Honda,
statistic. That's the way I'm going to call it, career-ending statistic.
Statistic,
Yeah.
I'm just feared to go, okay, I'm hoping that. But the other coin, you go, kids they go, I'm indestructible. I'm hoping his father's going to be, don't be stupid, kid. Look at everybody else. Everybody said that.
Yeah. Now, look, I will say one thing about Honda, and I was looking specifically at the replays of the sessions for Ret and in Kota. There's a lot less Japanese engineers in the garage.
And where? And for who?
For Honda.
Really? Because usually
there's 5 or 6. Usually there's 5 or 6 of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was looking at it the other day, and there's not. There's not that many.
Good. That's their hope. That's their. If they're smart, that's where the route they would go.
But my view of Honda and Yamaha's timeline is second half to end of the season. This season, we should be seeing the progress. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I were them, and well, I suppose you can't really. Like realistically, the only thing actually that I must try and figure out is, has the development freeze been put in place for the new regulations? Mm-hmm. That was not mentioned in those. So interesting. Anyway, I must note that down. I think it'd be interesting with Honda and Yamaha to see, can they close that gap by the end of the season. It won't.
But there is no ending to that so far. You're saying
no.
Jesus Christ.
Unless, but this is why I need to find out about it, because if the engine development freeze is in, it means Honda and Yamaha can't develop their engine during 2025. So they will be stuck with the same engine that they end this year with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For 25 and 26, which is what they're saying is a virtual zero. But yeah, it's kind of, they have to, I think even if Honda and Yamaha don't improve, if they have to understand the current set of regulations to build the bike for the next set of regulations, because what we now know off the aero, for example, is A, it's not going away, right? Which we kind of knew anyway. Yeah. But B, it's only, all right, there is a significant reduction in the points of downforce generated on a vertical angle, right? But there's nothing being removed from the horizontal. Does that make sense?
Right.
So as the bikes lean over, there's nothing to the ground effect that has been removed.
Right.
As it's stood straight up, there is. So,
well, my relative said that the next step would be ground effects, not the aero, the wings.
Yeah, well, it is. Well, that's been kind of obvious since the middle of last year when Aprilia started doing the bulbs.
Yeah, well, they said it way back when. They're like, what's going to happen is bang, bang, bang. And then it did, Trust me, they know. They did it for 30 years. They know what they're doing.
Well, look, it's like with the 850cc, corner speed should naturally increase. Do you know what I mean? The bike should be an awful lot lighter.
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah. Is it my only worry really with it is like, are we going to get into it? Are we going to get into a situation where the corner speeds are so high and you make one mistake, you're never going to catch up again?
Yeah.
Never mind about running off or whatever, but if you go wide and you lose half a second, you don't have that grunt coming out of the corner to maybe gain back 0.2 of a second. Do you know what I mean? It's But look, I suppose it is what it is. It is what it is. Up to that, but Northwest 200 starts. I think practice is it Tuesday or Wednesday.
And by the way, just to get back with the small, with the bore so small, it's not going to be like, it'll be worse than it was last time because it's gonna foul up the flame speed in the cylinders. So it's going to be a bigger kick in the ass than it was the last time it went.
Yeah, but look, the last time that we did it was 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
Surely they've learned something from that anyway, but look, we'll wait and see. They're here now, they're set, they're done. It's over with.
The gavel is come down. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. We're on the green mile.
We're on the green mile, yeah, that's it. The Northwest 200 this week, got to make sure that you watch it, Jake. Proper racing. You got to make sure that you watch the Northwest.
Yeah, I love that. I love that one straight. It's what, I don't know how many, 2 miles long. It's insane.
Yeah. And you can go from 10 to first or first to 10.
Holy shit! Down there like having a cigarette.
Just like it's just one mistake, then sure, and it's fucking game over for everyone. But look, it is cool, and look, like the Northwest 200 is setting the scene then for the Isle of Man TT, which of course is an amazing event in its own self. Now, if I was very honest, I think I prefer the Northwest to the TT, in the fact that the Northwest is a real racer's fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? Because you're at 200 miles an hour and you're slapping each other in the face if you want to. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the TT, it's kind of rider versus the track. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the Northwest, you're rider versus the track versus fucking another rider that's on the. Do you know what I mean? And it's just bedlam. But it's a great festival. Encourage as many people to get there as possible. Hope everyone stays safe. And as well, hope Sleepwalker and Tico enjoy the standing at the side of the ditch and telling people, go off the ditch, you fucking idiot. You're not supposed to be in the middle of the road, the race is on. All of this stuff.
I meant to ask you, and I'm sure it's the same. When the island race is real dangerous. We were talking about it last week.
Which one?
It has the side, that has the railing. Like you'll go and they'll have railing stacked on top of railings, like 8-10 feet up in the air.
What?
Yeah, the track where it's on an island, and they have one. It's run once a year, and it has the when you go around the track, it has like railing, the metal railing. Usually have one on
What's
the
the
side.
TT?
It's stacked, 10 feet high.
Is that the TT?
No.
Oh, Macau.
Macau. That's it. Macau.
Yeah, Macau. Yeah.
They leave those railings up. They must leave those railings up all year.
Yeah, but like I know for the West 200, they actually terrible, but they actually get inmates from the prison.
Yeah.
And build the roads or build up the safety stuff. So they bring them out.
They shouldn't have done the time. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have done the crime, and they wouldn't have had this problem.
I know it, but I just think it's funny, like, you know what I mean? But they get prisoners out and they help put the thing. I think it's a good thing, but look, it's cheap labor.
Yeah.
But no, look, it's really good. I'm really excited. Again, I'll probably stream it quite as much as I can of it, because I know people in the States and further afield can't always get access to it. So let's wait and see. Be good to hear Steve Parrish and the boys giving it socks and turning it into a proper old school biking festival of motorbikes, alcohol, and women. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, lads, we will end up today's show. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Our first live one ever Jakey Poo. We must do it again on a bank holiday.
Yeah.
So look, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you again, everyone, for joining, and we will see you again next week after Le Mans.
Take care, folks.
See you later.